Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am learning to set up my first bullet journal. I'm trying to get more organized, and in this video I just want to show you my simple layouts. If we haven't met, I'm Viv. Welcome to Art with Viv, and let's get started with my July cover page. Now for the July cover page, I decided to do a large initial of J for July. It's big and chunky. I've already pre-sketched it out with my pencil, and then I surrounded it with flowers. Now this is going to be a Dutch door. A Dutch door, my understanding of a Dutch door is it's a page in your journal that you have cut something out of or cut it in a certain way. And what I did was I measured 8 squares from the edge, and you can see, I hope you can see in the video that there's a line there. 8 squares from the edge, and that's where I'm going to cut it. But I've let my design spill across that line, and I'm going to cut around my design as well. You'll see, I'll show you later on. And I just did a whole mix match of flowers. I've got sunflowers. A lot of them are just whimsical. They're not really real flowers in reality. They're just flower shapes, flower doodles. I've been trying to practice. I have a video where I did some practice doodles on Monday, practice flowers with my pen. You can go back and look at that. I will link it. I will link it here so that you can watch those flower doodles and learn how to make some. They're a great way to just decorate your journal. I got a little ambitious with mine. You know, my art side overtakes my organization side. So in the future, I hope to simplify my design a little bit more. I got just carried away with this one, but I still enjoy doing it, and having that beautiful decorated journal encourages me more to use it. So it just doesn't sit there. I mean, I love looking at my journal now because it's beautiful and it's a reflection of what I like. So I'm just doing different flower shapes. I'm using lights and darks in there just to give them a little dimension. I'm making sure to just color right up to the J. I'm not crossing the J. I'm just coloring right up to it, and I want to get those flowers around that J so that it stands out. So I want all the color to be sort of behind the J. I'm doing just sort of a messy rose. All it is scribbles. I'm just doing little scribbly lines in a circle or a spiral. I'm letting a little bit of the lighter color of the paper show through so it gives some highlights, and adding a little bit of the darker pink so that it looks like it has some shadows. But it's really simple. You just do little squiggle lines in a circular pattern. That's it. Now I'm going to do a smaller sunflower. I like to do little dots in the center. For the center of the sunflower, you know, they have those really fluffy centers that have a lot of little stamen on them because they make so many seeds. So they're really fluffy. So I wanted to make it look fluffy using those little dots. And I'm just going to continue coloring in my flowers, making messy roses using 2 different kinds of pink, a light and a dark, and just making those squiggly lines in a little circular pattern around a center. Coming back with an even darker pink. I think that makes it pop just a little bit more. So there's actually 3 colors of pink in there, plus a little bit of the white of the paper is showing through for the highlights. Just always remember to try to get some variations in color or in tone, lightness or darkness of a color value. Now I decided I'm going to jump over to the purple. I didn't really pick out my palette beforehand, which let me suggest you pick your palette out before you start, because I just started doing random colors. It came out okay because it is flowers, and I mean almost all colors of flowers look good together. But for the next part, I did pick out a palette for the rest of my journal. So I will show you that shortly. I'm just going to let you watch this. I'm doing more purple flowers. The reason I'm doing them spaced kind of around the J is because I want it to look, you know, unified, and I also want to balance it out by having the purples in different spots. If I put all the purple on one side, then it would make the design look less balanced. So now I'm just going to come in and just draw in some greenery. I'm using all different colors of greens. I'm using some lime greens, some dark greens, some blue greens. I'm making some of the leaves have little lines in them just for a little bit of detail. I'm making some little vine-like sprigs coming out, just all different kinds of shapes of greenery. And let your imagination be your guide. This is a whimsical flower bouquet. So really anything that even resembles a leaf or a flower, I suggest you try it out. And it's a lot of fun. It's like being a kid again. I'm coloring like a kid again with my markers. But I'm really happy with the way it's coming out. I'm painting a little black-eyed Susan there. I'm making the center really dark. As you see, I have the petals sort of pointing downward so that it looks like a side view instead of flared out around the center. I'm just going to do some more leaves, some more sprigs of leaves in a different shade of green. Like I said, use multiple shades of green, use different colors in your flowers. And the good thing about flowers is almost all colors go together. I want this to look really vibrant. July to me is the summer month. It's when it's really hot. Things are blooming, there's lots of color around, the butterflies are going all from flower to flower, they're floating around, hummingbirds are everywhere. So to me, July is the most colorful month of summer. So that's why I went with this really bright, vibrant, colors in my bouquet. But I do pare them down just a little bit in my next layouts for the month, and I'll show you that as soon as I finish this. Now I'm going to let you enjoy some music and just watch as I fill in the rest of these flowers and little bits of greenery here and there. And the other thing I do want to point out before I let you listen to some music is I want the area right around that J to be full of color and some of the darkest. So I'll go back in there and put some really dark leaves right by that J, and that'll make it stand out even more. So I'm going to let you listen to a little bit of music, and I will be right back. Now once you're satisfied with your bouquet and you have all those little empty spaces filled in with greenery or little flower petals or whatever, I got my micron pen and I decided that just to give the flowers a little more structure, I outlined them and gave them just a little bit of shading with a few little hatch marks, a few little lines in the flowers. I just felt like it gave it a little bit more structure, and I liked it a lot more once I just did a little bit of outlining. Now my roses, I did not outline every petal. I just put some suggestions, a few little lines here and there. And on my more fluffier sort of vinca looking flowers, that's what they remind me of, little vincas, I did more shading near the center and right on the edges, but I am outlining the leaves, putting veins in with my little black marker, and I just like the way that it looks. Also, I've got some blueberries or some little berry shapes in there. I'm outlining those as well, all of the flowers. So go ahead and do that too if you want. It's optional. If you want to do a design like this, you don't have to. I just really like the structure that it sort of added to the whole piece. And now I'm just filling in some darker areas just to make some of those others pop. I've got a cutting board, one of my cutting mats. You can put something under it because you don't want to cut your pages underneath. And then I'm just using a blade to cut around the design and then to cut down those lines. And you have a Dutch door. I know it was ambitious for my very first journal, but I really like the way that it came out. So next up, we are going to do the layout for the focus. It's not much of a layout, but it's focus and themes for this month. So I'm just writing that up there, and that'll give me space to write what monthly themes I might want to go over and where my focus is going to lie this month. Of course, I put a little July calendar down there and put the days of the calendar. And when you lay that Dutch door down, you can still see that calendar from the way that it's cut. So what I did was I made sure that it went within those 8, that calendar fit within those 8 squares. And then there's a little design here, and it is fruit. I went with fruit for the rest of the layouts. I've got strawberries, orange slices, watermelon slices, and blueberries, and a few little strawberry flowers. So that was what I decided to do as my theme for the rest of the bullet journal. Again, I'm new at this. I should have either did the fruit on my big J on my cover page or did flowers throughout. Again, I'm just learning, so learn from my mistakes. But I'm still pleased with it, and I'm still going to use it even though the cover page does not match the theme of the rest of my journal, and it's okay with me. I just learned that on my next month, I will make sure that the theme is consistent throughout. So here I'm just, doing my strawberries, putting in some leaf shapes, putting in some lines for those. I did a little bit of pink inside of, or it's really like a peachy pink inside of some of the little flowers that I drew up there. Of course, I sketched it out with pencil first. I'm laying a little bit of the paler pink over the strawberry first, leaving some white space as well, and then coming back with sort of a deep reddish pink on top of the lighter pink, and that just gives it a little bit of a glow there. I'm also coming in with just a little bit of yellow right around the edges of those strawberries, and that gives it sort of a golden glow. I mean, again, we're not trying to do realism, and you can see that is a strawberry. So we're doing more illustrative work. Now I have went on the inside of that orange slice. I did some really pale yellow, and now I'm just doing lines in each section, just tiny little broken lines in each section of a darker orangish yellow. I'm making sure I leave that rind and those little sections in between white, because once you cut an orange, you see it has those white sections in there, those white lines in the sections. Then I've got some blueberries. I'm taking a really pale lavender actually, but I'm also going to add some blue to that. Sometimes blueberries, if you look at them, they'll have a little sheen of lavender when they're on the vine, so I just wanted that to show through. And then I'm just going to cover over those with some darker bluish purple. Notice I'm leaving a little bit of the white of the paper for a highlight. I've added just a tiny bit of pink into the blueberries. Some blueberries do have a little blush of pink on them. It just depends on the variety and how ripe they are. Once you get that done, I am just again outlining everything with my micron. I believe that is a 02 size, somewhere around there, and I am just outlining it to give it more definition. I really like this little design, and this is the design we are going to carry through the rest of the monthly layouts, which I just did very simple layouts in my journal. Like I said, I'm learning. I still need to learn how to do some collections, maybe some habit trackers, but I didn't do that in this one, not yet. I'm still new at this, and I don't want to get too overwhelmed. Now I'm just taking my white gel pen, I'm adding some highlights to the fruit, and that just gives it a little extra, sparkle. I like a little sparkle even in my journals, or everywhere really. I'm a sparkly girl. So I like that. That's looking good. Now I decided it needed a little bit of shadowing in this orange, so I'm just taking like a deep orange and just doing a few little broken lines to indicate some shadows, and that gives it a little bit more three-dimensionality. I'm taking a dark marker and doing the strawberry seeds, and we're going to go on now to our month at a glance. So let's gear up for that. All right, the first thing I'm going to do is I've already drawn it out, and I'm just going to get my sections drawn out. Now this is my month at a glance. This helps me organize the whole month. At least I think it's going to. Like I said, this is all new to me. So what I've done is I've done boxes where I can plan my YouTube content, social media content. For my membership, I can decide what tutorials, and I'll have little boxes to write all of that in. Take some notes. I'll also have the calendar so that I can look at the calendar and see what days I can mark in anything important on that calendar. And of course I got a little design of fruit there at the bottom. Now up here I've got important dates, and that just lets me see like birthdays right at a glance for this month. And I just transfer those from my future log. I did not show you my future log, but I do have a future log at the beginning of this bullet journal. So I just transfer any important dates for July or any new upcoming dates that I have not written in my future journal right there in that top square. So that's the first thing I can look at. I can prepare for whatever I need to. I'm doing little sections at the bottom of each one of the days of the calendar. That way I can write anything special that I need to in those just little skinny blocks. So there's my calendar. And next I'm just going to start writing all of the titles. I don't have good handwriting. I'm not a calligrapher, so I'm just writing it in with my pen. I told you this is not fancy at all. So I'm just getting all those titles of what I want each block to contain, where I want to plan each thing for my month, and just have a space to write it. So I think I'm probably going to keep this layout for each one of my months, because I like to be able to have a page that I can just look at and sort of get an overview of everything that I'm going to do for the month, or at least, you know, have the guidance of what I want to do for the month. So that's what this page is going to be for me. It'll help keep me more organized. And there you go. Now I have got my color palette picked out. I told you I did a color palette for the rest of the layout, and those are my colors that I had picked out for my fruit. And I'm just going to go ahead in there and start to color those in. And with my watermelon, I am starting with a little bit of pink. I'm leaving some of that white of the paper shining through. When you look at a watermelon, it kind of glistens, so I want some of the white of that paper to shine through to mimic that glistening, that wet look. I'm taking a darker greens and just doing the rind, and then doing lighter greens on top of the darker green, and just keeping that going lighter and lighter until you get to the white part of the rind of the watermelon. And I'm just adding a little bit more of a deep pink in there. It's really a pretty watermelon, and then I'm just going to come in with like a dark reddish pink. I don't know the colors of these markers. They're not marked on the marker. It just has numbers, so I'm not real sure about the actual names right off the bat. Like I said, I'm new to Tombow markers. So then I'm going to take my white gel pen, and I'm going in there and adding in some highlights here and there. And I like the way that looks. It's sort of messy, but that's fine with me. I'm not trying to win any awards with my illustration of my journal. I just want it to be bright and pretty. And I'm going to do this orange slice exactly like I did the one previously. I put in some really pale yellow. I left a lot of the white of the paper shining through to be highlights. Then I'm going in with sort of a medium orange, and later on I will go in with a deeper, darker orange for the shadows. I'm avoiding those white lines so that it looks like a wagon wheel almost. It's divided into sections, so that's what I want. And then around the edge, I'm going to take some of that darker color that I'm using here for the shadows. Remember, just do it. If you want to try this, just do it in broken lines. Don't do long lines going all the way down the sections. Do little tiny short strokes so that it looks more like the texture of an orange. I'm going to take the shadow color, do the rind. Again, I'm leaving some of the white part of the rind white. And then I'm doing a little lighter orange on the inside of that. A darker orange just so that it looks like it changes color a little bit. And I am taking my white gel pen, adding highlights. I'm not loving my gel pen. This one's not showing up as well as some other ones. I probably need a better gel pen. Then I'm working on my blueberries just like we did the other blueberries. I'm doing a little bit of pale blue. I'm leaving a little circle of white to indicate the highlight of the blueberry. Coming in with a little bit of lavender. Then I'm going to come in with a little bit more blue to darken even that up. And there we go, a little bit of darker blue to add the shadows. And it's not really a difficult little blueberry. They're really easy. They're sort of messy. I like the messy look. It almost looks impressionistic to me in a way. I'm going to have to finish off the strawberry, so I'm coming in with the pinks. I did a few dark orange, not orange, dark reddish dots where the highlight is. And I am just going to continue to put in layers of pinks and reds, leaving a little area lighter than the rest for the highlight where it's shiny. You know how strawberries are so shiny. And that's all there is to it. Like I said, I am not trying to win an award. I just want sort of a nice, bright, pretty illustration. And I'm pretty proud of what I'm doing. It may not be for everybody, but I really like this illustration. And I love the bright colors. To me, that is just July with all these bright colors. Now I'm taking a really bright yellow green, putting in the top of the strawberry. There's some strawberry flowers up there. I'm taking some blue and going around the yellow center. I put the center as yellow and put a few little blue shadows up there. The watermelon seeds, the strawberry seeds with a darker it's sort of a orangish brownish color. It looks black on top of the red, but it is actually a brown. And then I'm going to darken up the strawberry in some areas, making sure that I leave some of the highlights. Take my gel pen, add a few more highlights here and there, just to liven it up, give it a little sparkle. And of course, inside of those sections of orange, I'm going to take a little bit of the darker green and add some shadows onto the strawberry top and to a few of the leaves up there. And I'm just going to color in July. Again, I am terrible at lettering. Hopefully, though, as I do more journals, I will learn to letter. I will get better at it. Like anything else, you have to practice it. You have to learn the techniques. And I just haven't done that. So that's what I need to do. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping by the end of or not by the end, because I don't know if I'm going to stop journaling. But, somewhere in the near future, I will become a little better at lettering and with my handwriting. So I've written that July 2023 in there. That's my month at a glance. I'm just going to do a little bit of shadowing in there. And then, of course, we're going to outline. And I really like the outlined look. Again, if you wanted to try something similar to this, you do not have to outline it with black. You can leave it exactly like it is and it looks fine. But for me, I don't know why, I just want to outline it in black. Also, making a few little marks inside where those seeds are. Thickening up that line there, where they meet with the strawberries. And then, of course, I'm going to draw around the little blossoms so that we can see that there are flower blossoms up there, using the white of the paper as the highlight part. All right, there we go. Next, we're going to do a weekly layout. Now for my weekly layout, I just did squares. I did 3 rectangles. 3 rectangles on one side, and I did 3 rectangles on the other side for the days of the week, and that's where I'm going to write you know, what I need to do, my to-do list for those days, what needs to be done, any appointments in those blocks. Now on the 6th block, I'm dividing that one into 2 sections for Saturday and Sunday. I don't do a lot of stuff on Saturday and Sunday work-wise, and this is more to keep me on track of what I want to do work-wise. I'm putting my weekly calendar up at the top, and I'm saying which week this is. I wrote that in July 3rd through the 9th. I'm starting my weeks off on Mondays. Even though this month started on a Saturday, I'm starting my week off on a Monday on the 3rd. You can do yours however you want. I also got a little section down there for the content that I'm going to create for the week and notes, anything I need to remember. On the bottom part of each one of these long triangles, I am going to do my meal plan, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then, of course, I have my decoration. So that is all I'm doing for my weekly spreads. It's not, you know, anything spectacular. It's pretty simple, but it is just a good way to get me organized. So I'm going to just let you watch. You've seen me do the fruit in the last 2 layouts, so I'm just going to let you watch and enjoy some music for a minute while you watch me do these fruits. So I'm just going to go ahead and outline everything now and get that all crisp up this design was a little ambitious for a beginner bullet journal. Is that what you say? Anyway, it was ambitious. So my next design on my layouts, I hope to be much more simple than this. I'm going to add a little bit of color from the leaves to go across the days of the month, and that will just add a little extra pop, keep it unified. Now, these are the only collections I've made for this month. In the future, I'm going to learn how to do habit trackers and more collections. So let's just do a little walkthrough. I've got my cover page, I've got my monthly themes and focus, and I'm sorry that I did not have my journal completely in the camera frame. I'm sorry. Then we got the month at the glance, where I just plan the overall month, just get the basic big things that I need to get done, and then the weekly spread where, you know, I have my days, my to-dos, my content, and some notes. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. I will see you soon, and happy painting and journaling.